Yesterday afternoon, I was savagely and brutally attacked by numerous drones. We're under attack, and by we, I mean myself, my family, who's received death threats, and all of you who are sharing your true, honest stories of your real experiences with these things. Drones, orbs, plasmoids, UFOs, UAPs, abductions. And we're all under attack because we're too close to the truth. And listen closely, every one of you. You're either playing right into their hands or you're one of them. I'm calling you out. This from a wonderful individual from West by God, Virginia. She writes, "Hello, Kevin. I am very appreciative of your channel, and I emailed you already my UFO experience and my fog illness experience. I was born and raised in West Virginia and went to college in Roanoke and spent weekends in the beautiful town of Charlottesville. I love watching you walk up your property because it is so beautiful and hearing another West Virginia accent. I think that toy drone or drones that attacked you was probably flown by a human a-hole kid like the one you had arrested in Pennsylvania. Yeah, this was the 28-year-old winner she's referring to who actually emailed death threats to me and my family. Since it knocked you down, this being the drone, it is assault and battery. This kid or kids are trying to scare you and just act like demons. How you protect yourself and whether to make a police report is up to you, of course. I have prayed the blood of Jesus over your whole property and created a dome of safety 100 miles into the air above it. You can also stand on Isaiah 54:17 that reads, 'No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that speaks against me shall be condemned, because I speak the word of the Lord.' Truth. Your channel is making it possible for me to survive because I feel supported by you and our group, and there are still all of these things going on every day where I live in Florida. Also, it looks like the LA fires were caused by beams of fire shooting down from the sky, unless that was AI. And again, this is the views and the opinion of the writer, not my own. I want to share what she sent me. And I'm not saying that I agree or disagree. I just got to put that disclaimer in there. We are on social media. Please stay safe and strong and keep reading our stories in your commentary. God protect you." And then she gave her name, and I'm not going to share it right now here, but she will be receiving, and this happens with very few people. She will be receiving a follow-up email of thanks for her unwavering support. Now, how ironic that this drone attack comes yesterday afternoon, only hours after I was legitimately threatened. Let me tell you what's going on. Now, I receive literally hundreds of emails a day, people's personal experiences with these things, what's going on, as well as, their experiences with cryptids, paranormal stuff. This channel, this is what we do. I'm accused of making these stories up because I'm a writer. Well, let me ask you this, Mr. and Mrs. Einstein. If I'm such a great writer that I can make up a story that comes out here and gets millions of views, why aren't I a best-selling author? See, that doesn't make sense. It's called logic. Try using it sometime. So anyway, I received one such story a few days ago about an encounter with a UFO inside a home. I read it. It was well written. And I thought, something sounds a little fishy about this story. And I'm not going to state which part of the story sounded fishy to me, and I didn't state it when I did share the story on this channel, as I clearly had permission to do. Otherwise, the person wouldn't have sent it, and otherwise they wouldn't have previously posted it as a comment in the comment section. Yeah. So I come out, didn't change a word of that story, especially and specifically the part that was fishy. I put it out there, read it as written, and I let you folks discern whether that part was accurate or not. Because here's the deal. If you want to make up stories, if you want to tell lies and send them to me, so I'll come out here and read them to make me look like the liar or to make me look like the government agent, who's trying to make y'all look stupid, that's on you. That's not on me. You sent that lie. You sent those lies. You're the liar. All right, so I make this video, I tell this story, and sure enough, we're not idiots. We are not idiots. And that's what they're up to here. They are trying to discredit honest people who have had honest experiences with these things. They're trying to make us look like idiots so no one will believe the stories. So anyway, we're not idiots. And people saw the obvious lie, the obvious just part that was completely illogical and made no sense, and they jumped on it. They jumped on it. So what's the sender do? They go in there with a different user ID than the user IDs they use across various and multiple platforms and in their email accounts, and start whining and crying and saying that I misquoted them and it was all my fault. They meant to say, they clearly said this, but I changed it to make them look bad, to make them look stupid, because all I'm doing is making fun of everybody coming out and telling these stories, right? Well, I saw that, so I went back to double check myself. Not only the story I'd printed off to make sure it wasn't an issue with my printer. I'm blowing through ink. I want to thank First Sergeant Stormy, who's helping me at my buymeacoffee.com site, because she's pretty much paying for the majority of the ink to come out here and share these stories with you folks. So I go back, I go to the original email. It was not an issue with the printer. It was not a typo. It was not me misspeaking. It's exactly what they wrote. So I replied. And again, in my gut, something was telling me something about this individual was very off when I received their original message. And again, yes, I'm a combat veteran. Yes, I've spent 10 years in third world undesirable places to be, defending your freedom to come out here and say all these nasty things and threaten me and my wife and son here on American soil now that I'm home safely after dozens of times in which I shouldn't have been home, shouldn't have come back. Okay? I had a security clearance. I'm pretty good at spotting the obvious. So my gut's telling me this person is not who they claim to be. So I reply to I send back another email and I say, I saw your comment and you're upset because of whatever, me sharing your story, which you clearly sent for me to share, number one, which you've already shared on this platform anyway. And number three, I did not misquote what you said, and it was not an issue with my printer. And I copied and pasted the part of the email and said, this is exactly what you said. And my gut was telling me this person's upset because they got caught in their lie. Maybe they didn't proofread their little lie before they sent it in. So anyway, what do I get back? Well, just more gaslighting, right? And who is the best at gaslighting? Sure, people with borderline personality disorder, which my gut was saying this person clearly has, because they were on again, off again. I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. And listen, I was raised by a parent that has borderline personality disorder, so I know it well. Trust me, I can see it from a mile away. But there was a lot of verbiage being used that reminded me of my clearance days when I was employed by the government in the U.S. Armed Forces. So I wasn't quite sure. But yeah, I was gaslighted. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to come across as so mean. Yeah, I guess that was a typo. That was my fault. But what I meant to say was this. Could you just go back and correct it and pin the correction underneath the video? And I was like, sure. I said, hey, this is not a big deal. So I did that. But again, my gut's telling me, hey, Crazy Lake, you're not as crazy as a lot of folks like to think you are. Something is not right with this individual. And I was starting to move away from borderline personality disorder ever closer to this is potentially somebody associated with them being those who don't want these stories out, right? So I go in, say, hey, this was a typo on the sender's part. This should, and I'm not going to say specifically what it was. You folks are smart enough to find it, because let me tell you, the video's still there despite their best efforts to get it taken down. Trust me, I've been in social media for 15 years. I know the rules. I know how they work. When I shared this person's story, my gut was screaming at me so much that they were a shill. I didn't use their real name. I didn't use the name they sent me in the email. I'll tell you that. I used something very close, but just enough off to where they probably wouldn't catch it, and turns out they didn't, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I go in, make a comment, this was the error, the sender meant to say this, and I pinned it. And then once again, because they were saying, oh, people are so mean to me on the internet. I don't know how you tolerate it. You know, the death threats to your family and people being so mean. You're just trying to help everybody. But they're mean to me and it hurt my feelings. Oh my God. Give me a minute. All right. So anyway, so made that correction, pinned it. And I also said with that pinned comment, we will not tolerate bullying. Now listen closely. We love on this channel civil discord. If you see something in these stories that you're not buying, please put it in the comment section, but do it civilly. Don't bully, don't insult, don't call people names. That will always get you banned. But as a gentleman who commented on the video yesterday about the hiker who wrote in with the story about finding a secret bunker where they were swarmed with sparrow-sized drones and then lost time and went back and the place was completely different. And there was a tree there where the cellar used to be. One gentleman on there commented something to the effect, well, I don't really believe this story. Does that make me an idiot? And I replied to that comment. I said, absolutely not. You simply don't believe it. And I said, and you won't be banned because you didn't insult the author. If you're not buying any parts of any of these stories, let us know. Let us know what part you're not buying, because it's your discerning eyes and your discerning logic that helps me catch people like this that I'm talking about now. My gut was screaming something's not right here. Turns out it wasn't. Okay. So I put in that comment, no bullying allowed. You will be banned. Pin it. Well, guess what I noticed then? This very individual, the same person, was using their user ID to go around and in the comment section bash everybody else that had a story to tell. Yeah, as if, hey, I had this experience and you guys better all believe my story, but when you tell your stories, I'm going to make sure to comment underneath it that it's a lie and it's not true so people won't believe you either. That's when the bell went off. This person probably does suffer from borderline personality disorder anyway, but clearly they're working for them. All right, so I see this and I'm like, Kevin, you've been had again. Here you are coming out here in 19-degree temperatures, like right now, sharing these stories because these people have finally found the courage to come forward with their stories because I'm coming out here and showing that there's strength in numbers. Every time I share a story, more people come out of the woodwork to share their stories, strength in numbers, and yet here's this person trying to get us shut down. Why is it? Well, it's interesting. I went in and I banned them from the channel because, hey, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And this person fooled me twice. Shame on me. Wasn't going to let them fool me thrice. So they no longer had the ability to comment on anything because all they were doing, even though they demanded we all believe their story, which clearly had a hole in it big enough to fit my property through, it's not okay for people to call them out on that hole, but they're going to go around and try to discredit others. Clearly, government shill. The very thing those types try to accuse me of being, right? So I get one last email. Here's what they said in the email, and I copied and pasted this. I did correct a couple of grammatical errors. This person writes well, but clearly they were brought up in a lower socioeconomic demographic, and it shows with grammar. But there's hope because you can fix that. I did. I mean, I grew up in Appalachia, spent the first half of my childhood in a mobile home. My parents were both high school dropouts. I'm a first-generation college graduate, but I had to actually learn how to speak and write the English language correctly to be able to get to where I am now. It's just a stepping stone. So it's possible, and I'm proof of that, okay? Here's what they wrote. So my question for you is, are you concerned about people sending you fake stories? Oh, wow, after they got caught, they kind of passive-aggressively and in a very gaslighting fashion fess up. My highest intuition says that all of those death threats and cruel comments you shared about very likely were not coming from normal everyday citizens. Huh, you don't say. It's like an admission of guilt right here. Who would really be that offended by you sharing people's experiences and testimonials? I know, right? Only the severely mentally ill or the government shills. I mean, that'd be my bet if I had to actually answer that question. The only people who would try to be this insane towards you would likely be CIA types. Interesting. Or get this, her words. If it's a her, I'm sure it's a man. It's probably some 28-year-old millennial who's got a government job because of connections, but clearly those connections don't trump real world experiences, okay? So they're either CIA types or the losers they send into your path. So this person who's calling you out for calling them out for the hole in their story that only an idiot wouldn't see, you're a bunch of losers, FYI. Continuing with the email. I've always believed they prey on weak people and sometimes use those people to attack people that they don't want talking anymore. Wow, an indirect threat via gaslighting? It's easier to use a scapegoat, she or he or whoever, he, she, they or it, put it in quotes, scapegoat, to harm someone than to do it themselves sometimes. Having a fall guy makes for a case closed situation, so the incident in question won't be any further investigated. Sounds like a warning to me, doesn't it, you? They continue. I would avoid putting your wife up on the internet. You clearly have people out there who are very offended by what you're doing, and it isn't worth the risk. This is a threat. This is a threat. Ironically, after I disallow their ability to go on there and bash you folks with your real stories because we caught this person up and they're not real one. Okay, so I replied to this email. I replied, ain't no way. No way the government men would consider me and what I'm doing that important. To which this liar / fraud / potential government men / he, she, it, or they, whatever, replied, oh yeah? Wait and see. Well, I waited and I saw. There's a squirrel over there. Let me tell you what I saw. About an hour later, I decided to take one of my pew-pew sticks outside and practice discharging it at targets, right? Because that's something I do a few days a week. I bring my pew-pew sticks out and read between the lines. This is social media and I'm not allowed to say what that means, but y'all are not quite the idiots that this specific individual hopes you are, okay? So I come out, I'm trotting out to where I've got safe backdrops. I never shoot towards anybody else's houses. All the houses are very far away from me, but I don't even shoot in those directions. I shoot where my backdrop is an upward slant, the target being on the lower portion of the hill. So even if I do shoot over my target, it's literally, look how steep this hill is, okay? I'm way down there shooting at a target, way down there, whatever. Hey, I am very familiar with pew-pew safety. I grew up using pew-pews. I was in the military. I was a machine gunner in Mosul, Iraq. Qualified marksman, okay? So declined an offer to go to sniper school and special forces. I know what I'm doing, okay? And I enjoy having a cold one or a few after a hard day's work or at a tailgate party, but I will never handle a pew-pew ever if I've had even just one cold one, okay? I cannot stress the importance of pew-pew safety enough, okay? Pew-pews don't unalive people. People who don't use pew-pews safely unalive people. It's that simple, okay? So anyway, I go out, I'm walking to where I use my pew-pew, and I hear a buzzing sound in the sky. I'm like, what is that? It was like a zzz. I turn around, and as I turn, and again, I've got my pew-pew. Now I'm holding it with the barrel down because you always keep it toward the ground and away from anyone or any houses or vehicles or whatever. But when I turn around, I don't hear that buzzing sound anymore. Now listen, it was very distant. Let me tell you something else I'm good at, and that's turning disadvantages into advantages. I suffer from tinnitus, or as some people pronounce it properly, tinnitus, whatever. It's a constant humming in my ear, and it has to do with rapid pew-pew exposure to excessive pew-pewing and explosions and all this stuff due to my military service. There are certain frequencies I can no longer hear. I do wear hearing aids. I don't wear them in these videos because I'm the one talking. I'm not listening to anybody. But this disability has given me a very special ability. I can actually hear tones others can't. I can hear vehicles from further away than my wife and son. For instance, we'll be sitting on the front porch. We spend a lot of time on the porch when the weather's nice. We eat most of our meals out there during the spring, summer, and fall. I will say, do you guys hear that car coming? It needs a new muffler. And they'll be like, no, we don't hear anything. It'll take 2 full minutes before they can hear that car. And they'll say, oh yeah, I hear that car. And then about a minute later, it comes by. So I'm hearing this thing up there so far away, it's probably not even within sight yet. So I turn around, pew pew in hand. I don't see anything. And I don't hear this sound anymore. And I was like, that's odd. So I go, and I'm outside for about 30 minutes practicing with my pew pew. I shot 24 rounds. I always keep count, okay? Go back in the house, continue to scour through the literally hundreds of emails a day that are pouring in about this stuff. Just before dark, decide I need to get outside, take a walk, clear my mind, let my eyes rest from having stared at the computer screen and the phone screen for the last several hours. I'm just going to go for a walk. Now, while I was inside working, after I had practiced with my pew pew and after I had securely locked it away in a very secure place inside my home, my wife and our son had come out here to sleigh ride some more, and they'd built a fire, okay, at our campfire pit. And I've made multiple videos in the last week alone of me by the fire pit reading these stories because it was in the teens outside and I needed a heat source, okay? So I figured, well, I'll walk up to the campground, make sure that fire's not out of control. And of course, it would be almost impossible for it to be here in Virginia. And my well wishes and heart goes out to the folks over in California suffering from that. California clearly is not my favorite state in the union, but no human being deserves to suffer the way those people are suffering over there. Okay, prayers and well wishes to all of you, even though there's a lot of folks out there who always reject our prayers and well wishes. They might be worthless to folks who think that way, but they're not worthless to me, and they're not worthless to the wonderful person that sent me that message today, okay? Thoughts and prayers from Virginia to California. I wish I could pick up the snow and dump it on your state, okay? Okay, truth. That's truth. So anyway, I figure, well, I'll go up, just take a look at the fire, hang out by the fire for a little bit, clear my mind. So I hear that same sound. I turn around. I don't see anything at first. So I keep walking. Then I hear the sound and it's getting louder. I turn around again and I saw a minuscule, tiny little black dot. So far up, it was barely visible. And in my head, I thought, there is no way this is a drone. Ain't no way. But I thought, there's a lot of stuff going on right now that's not making sense. So what do? I pull my phone out. Now, I can't do it now because I'm using it to record this video. I pull my phone out because I was determined to get whatever was going on video. And surprise, surprise, I do. Multiple drones attacking me, pinning me down. I'm getting it on video. And this is what I don't understand. You guys, some that want to discredit the story centers, like the guy that wrote about his hiking experience and finding the mysterious cellar, and then he goes back and there's a tree there. People are like, yeah, how come when people tell these stories, they never have pictures or videos? Why don't they ever have their cell phone on them? I'm not going to believe anything unless I see a picture or a video of it. I got video evidence of me viciously and violently being attacked by multiple drones yesterday. I made it inside safely, and finally, after that terrifying incident, I uploaded in 1080 high definition. It can't get any more clear. And you guys come at me. You bash me. You say I'm faking it. You say I'm making fun of you. You say I'm making fun of everybody that's had these experiences. Which way do you want it? Don't tell me you want it on video and you want it in picture evidence if you're going to deny that too and you're going to bash that. So listen, if I give you the actual evidence of these things happening and you come at me, you're either part of them or you're one of them or you're in on it with them. You're trying to shut me down. I am clearly under attack because you don't want the truth coming out. In 8 days, incoming President Donald Trump will be peacefully sworn into office. This peaceful transition of power will take place. There will be no alien invasion. It will take 8 more days, but then it will be proven that I am right. This is a PSYOP operation, and they're trying to use me as part of it. They're using you. Let me tell you specifically what the government agent called you. Weak people. Yeah, who are being used to attack people like me that you don't want talking anymore. You ever heard of MK Ultra? Google it if you haven't. You're playing right into their hands, or you're one of them. It's one of two things. One of those two things. You're either playing right in their hands like they predicted you would because they view you as a weak person, or you're one of them. It's that simple. So I have and by the way, at the end of that video, I did say I got sprayed. I want to clarify that because people have asked about that. I don't believe I was sprayed. I believe what happened was a combination when that drone, literally, like the sender of this email today said, assaulted me, when it attacked me, when it came at me, it was coming right for my head. I fell to the ground to avoid being physically struck by that thing. So I was right at the fire pit. Smoke was coming like this. I honestly believe it was a combination of campfire smoke and my sheer panic and adrenaline that made me feel that I got sprayed. I don't think I was sprayed, but I do want to make that clear because that's how logically in my mind I can explain that part of what happened in that video, because I'm not suffering any ill effects today yet. So there is full disclosure, 100% of what happened yesterday. I don't know. Listen, I heard a wise man say years ago, don't waste your time telling people the truth when their minds are already made up. And along with that, you can't help people that don't want to be helped. Folks, I'm getting 4 hours of sleep a night, reading hundreds of emails a day, sharing your stories with your permission, retracted as it may seem sometime. And interestingly, I mentioned my gut was screaming at me that wasn't who they were claiming to be. So when I shared that video, I did not use their real name. And they actually went in and filed a privacy complaint against me at YouTube. They're trying to get me shut down. They are trying to get me shut down. So I just went through, and even though the name was not their real name, it was a fake name because I didn't trust this individual. I just edited out the little clips. There was 3 or 4 little clips where I said this fake name, took it out. Video's still there. It was uploaded just a couple of days ago. I want you to go find it. I want you to let this person know what you think about what they've done. Because listen, we're not going to be silenced. You can guilt shame me and you can come at me as much as you want. I'll tell you what, you mess with my family, you will be summarily dealt with. Yeah, summarily. And to all those who saw that video yesterday where I was actually attacked, saying shame on me, shame on you. Shame on you for either playing right into their hands or being part of them. Shame on me. Shame on you. And you.